Alright guys, welcome to the Transformers or 8.11 update notes. It's pretty much the last big patch before Worlds now. 1 second, wonderful. So what do we got here? We have new Godskins. I'm really pumped for those. I'm a big Transformers fan, so this is really awesome. And also as a Hunter player, we got a new Jingwei skin. There will be two different versions, some normal rendered ones and some with cell shading. Cell shader is added. They're going to the G1. They will be on the Prestige track, and they will look like the old comic versions from or cartoon versions from the early 80s. Those skins are absolutely awesome. I really look forward to those. And so then we got the SWC Loot Pack. So we get the Pittsburgh Knights Scylla in that pack, Divine Wind Gilgamesh, which looks awesome. Then the Season 8 Morgan Le Fay is basically a recolor. Somehow I would have wished we would have gotten a real skin for Morgan Le Fay, as she basically just has the Crimson Magus, and that's not among my favorites. Color-wise, yeah, that's okay. I do prefer her legendary skin, and even the legendary skin looks best so far, and even the diamond one is quite nice. They could have, probably swapped. Gave Morgan a cool skin to play. I don't know, they could have made some sort of world champion Morgan Le Fay skin, like I don't know what it would have looked like, but something that tells you, hey, this is the world, the world championship, and we made a skin for it. I guess it didn't happen. We have the Elkin Cerninos, that looks really nice as well. Even more in-game. Then they're putting the Gingerbread Baba Yaga in the Winter Wonderland chest. This is a really cool skin when I saw it yesterday in the update show. That reminded me straight of those old fairy tales, and it's just terrific how the skin is done. They even have the oven on her skin, which is just awesome. And the player house, the witch house, also has this candy. It's made out of candy with gingerbread, some of these sugar elements, sprayed sugar elements on. Looks really cool. And we got the plushie Tiamat. Let's just say I'm not the biggest fan of the plushie skin line. I'm absolutely certain that skin category has its fans. I would have liked a different Tiamat skin, but it's maybe just me. So yeah, it is part of the Odyssey. I think that goes for 500. The loot pack will be 1500 gems, I think, and the Winter Wonderland chest roll will probably be 400 gems again. The battle pass, I think, is like 750 gems or something. What I really do like is the Oni Ronin Anhur, also an Odyssey skin, also coming in November 16th. Looks pretty awesome. The only thing I would wish is if they would finally update Anhur's player model. This is actually so old, and in my opinion, so outdated. He barely fits into he barely fits into modern Smite anymore. And nonetheless, the skin looks awesome. I just wish we had a new player model for Anhur. They really need to get the work going there. And yeah, there we go again. The Transformers Battle Pass, 750 gems. There's lots of items on the paid track. We have the Gap Optimus Prime, the Jingwei Starscream, the Ra Megatron, Bumblebee Avatar Megatron Announcer Pack. Autobots versus Decepticons loading frame. From what we were told, the loading frame also changes in appearance depending on which of the gods you've picked. Pretty sure the rest looks amazing as well. Cybertron pedestal, level up skin, adds the usual stuff. And then we got it on the prestige track. Got, of course, the G1 versions, also basically the cartoon versions from the early 80s, which I look forward the most. It's like feeling 10 years old again or something like that. Little bit of stuff. Oh yeah, Optimus Prime Announcer Pack. That's I'm absolutely in for that. Will most likely use this over I think they added a Megatron Announcer Pack as well. Yeah, Megatron Announcer Pack. Definitely will be using the Optimus Prime, that's for sure. And yeah, now we get to the real stuff. The stuff we always want to know. First, of course, we also want to see the new skins, but this is a lot of changes, really good changes. So we have a few quality of life changes, and this is the best one. We have a new ban system in the Rank Conquest draft system. All ban. This means every player gets now one ban. And you will be able to ban right away. This won't be applied to competitive play. When I compare this to League of Legends back in the days, we had the same thing in League, where the top elo player did all the banning. And the bans were done in the bans shifted around. So basically, you could ban. You could make 2 or 3 bans, and then the enemy team was banning 3 champions gods away. This is what we currently have in Smite. And then you did ban, and then you picked, you had 2 picks, was it 2 picks on each side? No, it was 3 picks on each side, I think. Then there was another ban phase where we just simply banned out the 2 remaining gods. So technically, yes, there is some strategy involved, let's say the first pick phase, it's done. In the first ban phase, you banned out the most powerful options gods, and then they were pretty much gone. So probably throughout all the S+ tier stuff, you have no desire to play against, or which are really insanely strong. And then you had some sort of ban strategy. What it can do, or could do, or can still do is so the enemy haven't picked their jungler or haven't picked their ADC, so you're banning two strongest remaining ADCs or junglers out. That's fine. But honestly, in anything outside of competitive, I don't see this as crucial as it sounds. It doesn't even matter which elo you're playing in, and it always felt like a waste of time, way too time consuming. So banning, picking, was always like 5 minutes to do so. It's not even considering finding again. And then it took with queuing probably 10 minutes to get into a game. This was just thoroughly annoying in my opinion. I'm really glad they did change this and they had this on the radar for a while now. I'm not absolutely sure what held them back for so long, because this isn't really a major change to code, I would assume. If it was so, I could be wrong, but I don't think there was that much code to change. And all the bank time also is gone, which is really cool. Then we have the planning phase is back. You basically can show what you want to play, so at least your teammates are not banning your pick out. And you can also show, I think, if I understood it correctly, I think you can also show what you're going to ban. So each player will be able to mark up one god they intend to pick to show to their teammates. And you can also make the suggestion. So this is a really nice change. This will speed up lobbies a lot. And of course, you can also trade roles. It's during the planning phase, so that's fine as well. Then have ban phase 30 seconds, all 30 players instead of having oh my god, how much time was it? 15 to 30 minutes in the current lobbies. No, not minutes. Oh my god, 15 to 30 seconds or something like that. Ban time, ban time, and that just takes way too long. And then we have the pick phase, each with no bank time. So this is a very much welcome change as well. Pick order will remain the same. So order side does the first pick, and chaos picks 2, then order picks second and third, then chaos picks 3rd and 4th, then order picks 4th and 5th, and then chaos does the 5th pick. So basically where's the strategy? The strategy is just now in counter picking if it's applicable, and they just have removed the ability to ban out more more of a specific class like hunters or assassins and stuff. Do I think this is a detrimental change? Absolutely not. When you think about it, you're pretty much just banning all the meta stuff, all the insane strong meta stuff anyways, for the most part. I haven't seen some real strategic banning where really someone banned out 2 hunters or 2 junglers because the enemy has picked anything yet. I can't even recall if that was ever the case, so I think there's nothing lost. In competitive play, this is a little bit different. There it makes completely sense, and there's also applied. People in competitive actually do remove a specific class then or ban out a specific player. I personally just didn't see. I never saw the value in ranked play. I mean, ranked play is basically also just some sort of casual mode. It's just it isn't competitive. Maybe someone has the opinion that that made a huge difference, but I highly disagree on that part. So I think this is a really good change that they finally, that they finally got rid of this lengthy ban pig face thing. Next up, the next change is also very nice. You can now see. No, well, wait a second. That's a UI change. Players can now see the yeah, that's what I meant. Players can now see all the allies really cooldowns on the scoreboard. Really good change. So we don't end up doing neutral objectives, and maybe someone didn't call out that his relics are down. So we can technically take care a little bit of that situation. By just looking at the scoreboard. I'm really not sure why this hasn't been implemented a long time ago. I don't think that was that big of a deal to do at all. Having it's pretty much just the same UI element you have basically on your bottom bar, and they could have just copy pasted that into the scoreboard. I'm not sure what the issue was putting it there a long time ago, but hey, finally in the end it came. Updated God leaderboards formula. Wins at higher MMR rank matches will now count for more MMR on the God leaderboards. Higher rank players should be able to reach higher tiers of the God leaderboards more easily. Yeah, sure, why not? I personally don't care about God rank leaderboards. Like, I really don't. I know there are a lot of people who really does need a reflection of that. I don't care about this change. It's okay if that's improved now, but I really couldn't care less about God leaderboards. How much just tell me, okay, the guy played a decent Anhor. Hooray. I really don't care. I care much more about in-game performance. I don't care really if someone has some crazy KDA going for him or some insane gold per minute or whatever. It's not something I care about. I care rather about some of the statistics reflect if you've done well in the game, like did you show up for fights? And well, that's not reflected, I think, how well you actually performed. I care more about how players perform mechanically and macro technical. Yes, the God leaderboard reflects that a little bit, but I couldn't care less if some, I don't know, Arachne OTP is leading the God leaderboard at 2 million points or something, or I really don't care. I don't think we really required that. So we have a little, then we got some bug fixes, fixed an issue where I would prevent relics from being purchased, sold, or undone. I can't even recall if I've experienced that. Updated ranked gear tags to describe the ranked requirements. Yeah, I'm not sure why that hasn't been done in the first place when they've changed it from 20 from 40 gods at rank 1 to 20 gods at mastery 2. But so be it. Yeah, then we got some visual and audio fixes. fix text to read current health damage. Yeah, sure. No longer provides a flat heal for destroying enemy towers, phoenixes. Very good change. So it's not picked up by a ton of by a ton or by a majority of the team or anything. There were times when we had like 4 bombers dagger on each team side, which was quite insane. Light of the Nemean Lion, okay, I fixed to be more clear and consistent. I think I haven't seen that in a while now. This item, the bonus comes from protections from items and abilities. Yeah, okay, sure, that's cool. Pride win, also description that where the bonus comes from. What I would like to see is they should add something to Nike's ultimate description, that Pride win doesn't the shield from Pride that she doesn't get the shield from Pride wins, and which would actually be insane if that would stack. But they should leave a note, something or like this. If you have a shield ultimate that applies a shield to you, that you won't get the benefit from the Pride win effect. So Corrupted Arena returns. Yeah, cool thing. Why not? Slash game mode. I have no idea what the slash game mode is supposed to be. So that will be hitting in the new season. So the community is highly anticipating this mode. I have like no idea what the slash game mode is. I mean, we can try to look it up. Maybe find some more informations. Anything except for the short beat by Ajax. I would say if Clash would go. Not a big fan of other modes. If Slash ends up more like Siege than Clash, then I might just being the same for Siege Crowd, but the other way around, the Arena Conquest, maybe Q-Ten's matchmaking is very not ideal. So, not as I don't play Siege and Clash to Clash sometimes, Siege not at all. Not even in season 1 when I started playing the game. So I'm not sure what they're doing with Slash here and why this is considered a highly anticipated mode. Maybe it would be nice if Hyres would tell us a little bit more details about the Slash mode. I don't know. Is there a big difference between Siege and Clash at all? Yeah, I mean, there are the Siege monsters, and Clash has the Siege monsters you fight in the middle of the map. You fight over in the middle of the map for the extra spawn, something like that. And in Clash, we got this. We got that. I don't know, a set spawn or how it's called, which you kill, and then you get something like a fire giant buff after a while. I'm just not sure what the slash mode is about. I know that Clash is quite popular. Siege isn't. I think the Siege timers are always like 3 minutes or something. super boring. And then it's a super boring, at least for me, was a super boring mode. I haven't played this since season 1, so yeah. Good, whatever. So then we have Conquest Change, increase the amount start time from when players will spawn until minions spawn by 5 seconds. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sometimes people are late to a little bit late for some odd reason. So 5 seconds, yeah, why not? Don't think it's that big of a deal. Then they added a Goldfinch character to a nest to the environment near the Gold Fury objective as a memorial to John Finch. That's a very nice gesture by Harris. Yeah, rest in peace, John Finch. I really liked that guy when he was commenting pro play. It's really sad that he died recently. And think this is a really nice gesture. So definitely gets my props here. And then we're rushing right into items. So we have, since we have the Smite World Championship coming up, this is the patch for 8.11, which will hit 16th November. And we have, I think, at the weekend, there will be the group stage. So this weekend on what's the date? So 29th of October, so I think will the group stage be starting. So yeah, so right away we have some hunter buffs. So we got Death's Toll, which it's one of my favorite starter items. Even insane enough to upgrade this at times. I just don't think I'll be upgrading it when this patch lands, but we'll get later to the reason why I won't be upgrading this anymore. I mean, I had my my issues with the late game option already as well, since you basically lost all the stacks. It's the same problem with Gilded Arrow. But with the increased attack damage on them, I think they make a very good starter item for the laning phase. Death's Toll gives a ton of sustain early on. And I think with the 5 extra physical power, the most hunters will be sitting at 50 power instead of 45 or something, and yeah, this is a pretty huge buff actually for the early game. So that's a lot of extra power, to be honest. Results in faster clear and also in more early game damage. So yeah, really awesome buff. But what's going to happen is, at least for me, we will be trying a couple builds out anyways. When the patches land, I will also try to get a little bit of PTS gameplay, and then we'll see how what we can do, because we have some other hunter item buffs. There's a really good, nice hunter buff patch coming up, and yeah. This is really strong buff here to these items. So I can see these being picked up in the other games. So let's say you're more the farming oriented hunter player. Gilded Arrow, absolutely your thing. You want to play more aggressive in lane. Death's Toll, absolutely a great choice. If you still favor the Hunter's Call, I would have to check the current value on what's current value on Hunter's Call. Hunter's Call did not get buffed, so let's actually we have to check out the Leather Call. So what are currently the stats? So this is 15 physical power. So yeah, currently you have to make a choice if you pick this up as a starter, and then later on sell it. But we'll do some extended testing if Hunter's Call is performing worse to a possible sixth item, because we're not done here yet with the hunter buffs. There's more, but this is definitely the way to go for the starter items. I really do like this change here. Benevolence, Sentinel's Gift, and occasional War Flag are seeing a much healthier spread in selection. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Benevolence in general. We could technically. God, what are the two end game items called? I think we find them somewhere in the health tab. Where is it? Animosity and Compassion. So let's have a look. The 8 gold per second aura damage taken by allies within 70 units is reduced by 15% up to a maximum of 100 damage. So you reduce that, directed to magical damage. If you would die from this, it does not get reduced or redirected. I think there's some description missing, but this has, I think, an internal cooldown on it. On proc, just the entire time. Then Animosity baited text deals bonus damage equal to 3% of maximum health as magical damage. I think I haven't built both at all. Like, never. Maybe maybe once. Yeah, maybe a few times when Benevolence was broken, when we had like 4 or 5 Benevolences per team. I think back then I built it. Right now I haven't built this item at all. At least not for the last 2 months or so. I would rather prefer Sentinel's Boon or Sentinel's Embrace, and even War Flag is more of my taste. So yeah, but why not? The change is okay. And then we got the Vampiric Shroud. So the thing here is what I have never understood. They have nerfed the magical power first. Then they noticed people still pick it up. So Hyros did not understand why this item was picked up. And this item wasn't picked up because it had an crazy amount of power on it. The item was picked up because it gave a stupid amount of sustain from its passive, and you had around 20 physical protections on it. So technically this item was actually meant for mid laners to mitigate a little bit the problem with junglers in the early game, so they didn't right away. But what essentially did happen was this item, this was for the most part the sole reason why this item, why warriors were forced out of the solo lane. So the question is, why didn't they just reduce the physical protections or restrict this item to mages? But instead they nerfed the magical power first, and then they nerfed the physical protections on it. And so Vampiric Shroud wasn't picked up anymore, since it has 5 less power than the other 2 starting items. And why would I cripple myself in the early game with clear and stuff? So I haven't quite understood why this had to be reverted just now. So next round we have Sigil of the Old Guard. Technically, I think this is it the more defensive option now because X got changed as well? I think this is more like the fun item. This is more like the ranked item. And maybe for some crazy competitive players. But this is a really nice change. The 5 damage mitigation as a stat. Applied always. And increase the duration of the passive rebuke buff. I do like that as well. So the item doesn't get too overpowered. I'm a big fan of Infused Sigil. I think in competitive play, this will be, yeah, there will be less, this will be less built, probably. I see this more like a solo queue item. It's actually a pretty crazy change to change the necessary stacks to 3 from 4 to have the explosion trigger. And they also increased the passive space explosion damage from 500 to 600. So if a warrior dives you, dives the backline, this is probably quite hurting now. As for me, Infused Sigil is a fun item. Warrior Axe, on the other hand, is for me the more defensive option, even though they are removing protections and health from it now. I guess this is more like the solo laners demanding a more spicy early lane. So that's technically this isn't just yeah, two high defense gods sitting in the solo line, autoing, throwing spells at each other, and no one dies. So this could spice up the solo line while still keeping sort of its identity as more defensive late game option. Even though I do think that the Sigil of the Old Guard is also fitting, yeah, that niche, at least for the late game. So what have they done to Sundering Axe? They added 40. So this is also some sort of yeah, decision making for the late game again. So you have to think about, do I upgrade to the offensive option? Can I afford it? Is the enemy team far ahead or is it not? If that's not the case, then yeah, Sundering Axe, so you can have fun. Of course, they removed the health on it as well. Not sure on the more defensive option on Heroes Axe, which is also that's really nice endgame item. I think that saved teammates more than I could count when I've been building this on a warrior. They're increasing the physical, magical, and physical protection quite a bit. And so basically you have to think about if you want to go Heroes Axe or Sigil of the Old Guard now. I think with the health steal that Warriors Axe probably has the edge over the Sigil starter. Pretty much, and it can also be used by magical gods, while this is completely restricted to warriors. Yeah, so the exchange, that's a very nice one. I really do like those. Lotus Crown, okay, the cost is increased. Yeah, this is basically whatever. So who did rush that? It's Sylvanas rushing it, it's Terra rushing it. Maybe Solo Lane, Hell, and Aphrodite rushing it if they're against warriors. Or they pick it up later. I think in the solo lane would be having a small impact depending on which healer you're playing there. Which was for the most part Hell and Aphrodite, but Hell is out of... I haven't seen Hell solo lane in a while now. And also Aphrodite solo is rarely seen in the solo lane. And then yes, his item makes in the early game quite the impact. But this is nothing too crazy now, so you have to stay, I don't know, a minute longer, maybe two minutes longer on lane to get the item. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, the next nerf is, I think that's pretty much necessary, or was necessary. This is like, yeah, the #1 most picked up item in solo lane right now, so they increased cost by 100 gold. Would probably not increased cost by 100 gold, but what I'm totally up to this is the decreased physical protections. So people opt into other options rather than this, and this can also then sort of bring back some of the solo laners with better clear abilities, since you need to rely more on wave clear now. So I could see some little bit of solo lane meta shift incoming, maybe with this change. I mean, it's not that crazy, but it'll go somewhere along like that. The next two items. Yeah, so my take on this high-res is doing some, and they're not, I don't know, they're not doing the job properly when it comes to mage itemization. I mean, mages are building really the same stuff for like a complete season now, and I think even longer. I think even the season before that was pretty much the same item build. None of these buffs are going to change anything. The Book of Dead, I have no idea when this item was ever picked up in the long run. So they stated in the update show, at least one of them stated in the update show, they would like this item. Item is still garbage, even if you're going from 100 to 120 power and add 20% crowd control reduction to it. I have built this item just yesterday. So I wanted to see, basically just to see how my, if my survivability would go up. So I have an increased mana shield. Currently that's 20%, and then later on it's 30%. So basically, so I've built the Book of Thoth beforehand to have plenty of mana available. And then no, I wasn't playing Kukulkan. Khan. I think I was just playing something else with high scale, with insane high scalings. I think I had Zilla or something, and then I just wanted to try this out. And to be honest here, I didn't even notice that the mana shield was there. That this mana shield was there. I was still 100 to 0 in the late game. So yeah, whatever they are trying to achieve with Book of the Dead or try to achieve with Book of the Dead, I have no idea. This item needs to be removed, or they need to completely change basically what it does. This is hardly noticeable. And then when you consider that pretty much only one god in the game even goes for a stacking item, and that's Kukulkan, I can't think of any other god that builds this. Yeah, doesn't make that much sense to me. The problem with mages is that they're sitting pretty much in the same boat like hunters. They have to build a specific set of items to perform, and you need pen, you need maximum CDR, or at least close to maximum CDR. And yeah, those stats matter way too much that you and that you could afford picking up a Book of Dead with a very questionable passive. Is it the mana shield? That's barely noticeable that's even there. So no, this isn't going to make the item more appealing, whatever that they're doing there. It's pretty much the same for Staff of Meridian. So a few days ago, I think I did build this item a few times just because I just wanted to see, does that make an impact at all? What's the issue with the item? The main issue with this item is it's passive. That reads pretty cool with this overcapping on cooldown after you've cast your ultimate. But when you recall back in the day when this was introduced, this was an item for Janus. So this is also just made for one god. Because Janus is actually the kind of god that would fire the ultimate first and then blast out his remaining kit in fast succession. So you would travel with the ultimate, and then maybe you did fire all your abilities beforehand, like you were in a skirmish or something. And then you fired this ultimate to either escape or to chase. And if you didn't hit the enemy with your with the space and time ultimate, you basically sat there with no cooldowns available once you've kept closed, or ran away with your ultimate. So and then there's probably also just guardians that start off with that basically start off with ultimates before they're using their more basic abilities. So what else does this item offer? So you have 10% cooldown on it. You have, I think it's 10% penetration or something like that. And the cost was 2,800 golds down to 2,650 gold. Magic power was increased to 95. But I want to be honest, I will not pick this item up over a Soul Reaver. It's just not going to happen. And even before I pick Staff of the Meridian up, I pick up Spear of the Magus any time of the day. That's just way more damage than Staff of the Meridian does. They need to completely rework what this item does or is supposed to do, or just get rid of it with Book of the Dead. Just not great. So now we're going back to the hunters. So we have Failnot buff, increased critical strike chance from 10 to 20%. This is what they have nerfed. When it fell out of the meta, I think that was last year. Why? Because it was a super popular item everyone was building. I could, so when I'm going with the Gilded Arrow starter or the DT starter, then I definitely could see myself picking this as the 6th item. If I went down the crit build route, which I think will be the staple build for until until the new season lands. So that this is definitely a nice change. Just don't think it will be a sort of early rush like we had it in the previous season. So yeah, this is pretty much for this. I will definitely have this as a core item now, executioner buff. So it goes up from 30 to 40. The passive is already insane with fully stacked 28% penetration. I think we have 20 attack speed on it, and with the 5 additional physical power, I will build this a lot. I will definitely build this over Dominion now. That's for sure. Yeah, with the 5 increased power. Awesome change. Oh, and yeah. Then Hyras decided to rework Bastet again. So my take on Bastet is the problem with Bastet is he has insane damage scaling and base damage. So you really, when you rework something on a god like this, you really have to be careful with scalings and also base damage numbers. So what have they done? Per usual. Okay, nice. So Bastet will be auto-banned from ranked and competitive per usual new god rules. So yeah, this won't make it into so the new Bastet won't make it into the at the World Championships, I think, in this case. They've changed the passive. The Night Stalker gains physical lifesteal and physical ability lifesteal when hitting enemies, and additionally, enemy gods hit by her are revealed to Bastet for 6 seconds. So this is basically Aaron died or Heimdall passive. 15% at level 20, 25% at level 20. Yeah, I think that could help her late game out with the increased physical lifesteal. Little bit in the early game. Technically, I would wish there would be more physical ability lifesteal in the game, or at least some proper version of it, and not Soul Eater. This is pretty much a free Soul Eater of sorts. 25%. It's actually a lot of lifesteal. Considering her base damage and damage scalings, that's pretty much insane. Razor Whip going down from 13 to 11 seconds is huge as well. And they've also adjusted the duration and tick pacing of this ability. So the previous ones were 0, 1, 2, 3, also 4 ticks. And but I think, yeah, that was rigged, I think. So the ability was listed as 4-second durations, but even though all damage ticks were dealt by 3 seconds, the last second had no effect. So yeah, this is changed a little bit. Will this be a significant difference in terms of her damage output? No, not at all. It's just a minor fix. So damage ticks will now occur at 0.66. Yeah, okay, it's just ticking faster. would it really make that much of a difference? Yeah, quite a bit. Same damage being dealt per tick total. Yeah, so there's nothing of that. And they once more reworked the ultimate. It's called Huntress of Bast now. Becomes CC immune, conjures a radiant projectile that travels forward in a line, damaging and stunning the first enemy got hit. A Guardian of Bastards is summoned at that location, and that picks up and grabs the enemy hit, bringing them to the initial firing location. So this is pretty huge. So basically, this is Arachne pull from beta in Season 1. It even works through walls. They've added pulls on multiple gods now. Sylvanas has it. Avilish can pull and stuff, but this is pretty insane. I would expect you're pretty much dead if you get hit by that and your beats are down. Then you're pretty much done. On a successful catch, a pool of quicksands created under the enemy, creating a vortex which drags targets towards the center and deals damage. Yeah, there's a ton of damage as well. This is 6 ticks. So this is 190 damage scaling on this ability now, plus the 660 base damage. This is actually quite a lot. Also, you're simply dead when she hits you. With that, I do think that gives her quite some late game power as well. Do I personally think that Bastet currently needs late game power or some boost in late game power? Probably not. Yeah, the thing with Bastet is she always was one of the early game junglers. So and I think the ultimate she had, where she pretty much copied her abilities. Basically, they fired a total of 3 times. I think that was already strong enough. And yes, at a specific level of play, let's say Blood Diamond Plus, something like that. This is where she's losing ground, where she doesn't perform that well anymore. In the lower brackets, she's a pub stomper. So they're trying to boost her viability in higher levels of play now. Maybe also in pro play, because this sounds like a very decent teamfight ult to me now. If you hit that, then you can catch out Squishy, someone in the backline. They're just dead. So yeah, I can see her being played in competitive now as well. And we got a Cleotna nerf. Yeah, I sort of saw this coming, so their nerf Phantasmal increased tick rate from 0.5. Sure, why not? So she can't spend that much time in walls anymore. Decreased initial hit scaling from 90 to 80%. Yeah, pretty much needed when you have an ability that has late game like 35 seconds cooldown and has also 2 stacks which apply the same amount of damage. And also the rift damage scaling going down from the ticks. I think I've hit squishies for 250 damage just with the ticks. The tick damage on this ability. Could be wrong though, or they were a bit underleveled, but I think it's at least 200 damage on a squishy. Plus an absurd 8 800, 850, and this is just opening one rift. This isn't even hitting with two stacked. It's just the damage from one rift. So yeah, the adjustments here need to be done. Then we got a Naja buff. They want to improve his one-on-one capabilities a little bit. It's a good change. Thor gets buffed, Berserk Barrage, more scaling on the first two hits, 5% more scaling. We have to closely watch this. In terms of Thor, this can make the difference between him being broken, and basically him being complete trash, depending what his scalings are. I mean, it's an assassin, so scalings are important. Usually Thor was your early to mid-game jungler, and then he became a setup god, even back in the day before his kit was nerfed. Just 1 point, they have over-nerfed some of the other junglers, and that's why he became suddenly so strong. And then they decided to nerf him too. I'm not completely sure how this story was back in the day. The next buff is cool. Personally wanted to have that buff back on his shield. You're getting 30% movement speed and 40% attack speed back. That's what he used to have on the old shield. Not entirely sure anymore if the old shield just gave movement speed and attack speed. This is pretty much one of the pretty much needed changes on Zeus. The next part with Poseidon. Yeah, basically, I'm not sure if the title search cost reduction going to give him really the edge. Maybe. Maybe not. I've had no issue, at least, maintaining his title levels when I played him and pretty much dumped the entire kit on the enemies. I always had a necessary title level for the damage bonus. I'm not sold on this, that is going to change that much. Trident is a really nice buff. That's actually quite huge. It remains at 12 seconds in the late game, but it's more available early game. That's early game is his strong phase. Mid game as well. His late game, not that great. But yeah, it's a really nice buff. Also increased power scaling from 20 to 25%. So which build will benefit the most from it? The attack speed build, if you can opt for that or want to opt for that. This is really cool. Next up, we have a Musen Cup. This is actually an insane buff to his ultimate, but I would not. We have so what it does now. The impaled target is slowed by 30% late game, and at all ranks, the ability decreases physical protections by 30% on the impaled target. This is nuts. This is really nuts. Just completely crazy. There's a tank buster now. Do I expect to find more Amusen Cup in the duo line? Most likely not. That he has a problem with mobility. He doesn't have any. Yes, he has the beehives, increased movement speed and stuff. But you just get run down in the duo lane. But where I could see him is in the solo lane. I think he could be a very strong solo laner because duo lane is quite long, large, quite long. It's a long lane, and the dual lane is a rather short lane. So he has an easier time retreating, and he's also mostly up against tanks. So I could see him in the solo lane. I'm not sure if we will be seeing him that much in competitive play when this change hits. But this is really crazy. And I also could see that toned down a little bit, at least the protection reduction. Next up is a Shibalanki buff. This is pretty huge for Shibalanki. He's right now the Worst Hunter. This will definitely increase his viability now. More base physical power, more attack speed per level, and Ola's also doing increased 2.5% more increased damage. This is a really huge buff. He will definitely be more viable than before. Right now he's complete trash tier, but this will move him up a little bit in the tiers. Maybe A tier. Yeah, definitely B tier, I guess. A tier, not so sure. Maybe. Right now he's, in my opinion, D tier, so complete trash, just unplayable. This is my favorite support. So I'm not a support man, but when I'm auto-filled, for the most part, I pick Xingtian. So I like Xingtian buffs. And they finally changed changed numbers on Furious Roar. That used to be for the last two ability levels always 3%. That was really odd. Then they changed the cooldown on those. He has super long cooldowns. So they finally changed tone that also a little bit down. This really cool buff here. Also decreased mana costs. Even though considering his long cooldowns in general won't be making them that much of an impact with the decreased mana costs, but decreased mana costs are always a good thing. Sky Cutting Edge. Yeah, I would have rather seen cooldown increase to that ability as well. So Guan Yu gets buff, decreased cooldown on Tower Assault. 15 to 13 seconds is actually pretty huge. That should bring him back into the solo lane again. I mean, he was completely gone, but recently they just didn't see that much. Yeah, he didn't have that high pick rate. Yeah, okay. Freya Change. I think that's a good one. She will be untargetable now while rising into the air. Yeah, that was always sort of enervating. Basically, Valkyrie's discretion was an escape spell. But there were a lot of situations where I just got killed on Freya while trying to escape with this ability. So yeah, this is a pretty nice change. It's going to overpower her? No, not at all. I don't think we will be seeing an increased pick rate in increased Freya pick rate. I don't think that's going to happen. And then, last but not least, we have a Kamasat. change as well, same directions. She will be untargetable while rising into the air. That's fine for me as well. That should be basically the case. Maybe we could talk about damage raining from the air. Then maybe those abilities should land. But I'm fine with both changes. So this is really good. This is really cool. Yeah, so overall, I think this is a pretty crazy patch. I think Bastet will probably be a little bit broken now. She gets a ton of survivability, crazy late game, and also crazy late game scaling with Huntress of Bust now. Makes her late game. She makes her actually viable as a late game option now. I just hope they do not overbuff the damage in her kit. It's pretty crazy already what she can do with the current mace buffs. But yeah. So Hunters is also pretty amazing changes. They have the early mid-game impact is sort of back. So basically the state before hitting 6 items, where you're technically the strongest class in the game when having 6 items. But yeah, this is a really cool change. The mage buffs are complete garbage. I don't see these items being picked up after the changes. Absolutely zero reason to get either one of those. Warrior nerf, the mystical male nerf, really good. Lotus Crown, yeah, that's so thing. We have a more spicy solo lane due to X being changed. I really do like these exchanges, they're awesome. Vampiric Shroud, so you can make a choice. Yeah, you sort of have a variety choice again at the beginning of the game. Benevolence, I guess it's an okay change. And the 2 Hunter starters, Death Toll and Gilded Arrow, yeah, they become an option now. Can use those until you hit the point where you get your sixth item. And then you just sell these. You're not buying the upgraded editions anymore. The upgraded editions would have they would have to make a couple changes to make the upgraded versions more viable than Hunter's Call. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the Worlds patch. And I'm really looking forward to this one, and especially to the Transformer skin line. So I hope this gave some perspective. You can also leave me a few comments below with opinions and stuff. And yeah, see you next time.